5. Life experiences. Exercise 1, page 79.
Move house. Get a promotion. Start a family. Get married. Get fired. Lose your job. Get divorced. Move abroad. Get a job. Graduate from university. Start your own business. Have grandchildren. Retire. Buy your own house.
Exercise 3, page 79.
I did it! 4 years of hard work have finally paid off. I never expected to get a university degree, so I'm really proud of myself. The ceremony was amazing. My family really enjoyed it and took a lot of photographs of my friends and me. All the students were wearing caps and gowns, and when we all received our certificates, we threw our caps into the air. Afterwards, my family and I went out for a meal to celebrate. They were really proud of me too. We had a fantastic time celebrating. I'll never forget that day. It was a very special time for all of us.
5A. How annoying. Exercise 1A, page 80. A. 3.
Have bad body odour.
B. 1.
Gossip about others.
C. 6.
Talk in the cinema.
D. 4.
Talk loudly on a mobile phone.
E. 2.
Have bad table manners. For example, slurp your soup.
F. 7.
Be late for an appointment.
G. 5.
Take things without asking.
Exercise 2A, page 80.
Teen Blogspot, Liam Adams. Latest posts, it's annoying. 6th of March, annoying situations. It always gets on my nerves when people talk in the cinema, but you won't believe what has happened to me tonight. I went out to the cinema with my friends to see a film I've wanted to see for ages. From the moment we sat down, a group of teenagers behind us didn't stop talking and laughing, and even chatting on their mobile phones. Anyway, eventually I lost my temper. I turned around and shouted at them. Almost immediately, an usher appeared and angrily told me to leave. My friends were laughing their heads off afterwards, but I'm still furious. It wasn't my fault. So, anyway, here I am back at home, letting off steam on my blog. So, what about you? Have you suffered from people's bad habits recently? Tell me all about it and cheer me up. Posted by Liam, 6th of the 3rd, 2214. 2 responses.
Oh, that's awful, Liam. It's really annoying. What gets on my nerves is bad table manners. I've got a really funny story about this. A few months ago, I went to a restaurant with my family. While we were trying to decide what to order, we heard some strange noises coming from the table behind us. It was a man slurping his soup really loudly. When he finished, he started complaining to the waiter that his steak was tough and the potatoes were overcooked. We felt really sorry for the waiter. The final straw was when he sneezed loudly without covering his mouth, and a piece of bread flew out of his mouth and onto our table. I've never seen anything like it. Anyway, about a week later, my dad read an article in the food section of a newspaper about difficult customers and the way restaurants deal with them. At the top of the page, there was a picture of the writer and, you guessed it, it was the man in the restaurant with the bad manners. He was a restaurant critic. Posted by Susie, 7th of the 3rd, 1315.
Well, I have to travel on public transport every day, and there are plenty of things that annoy me. A few days ago, though, it was a boiling hot day, and when my train pulled into the station and I saw the bodies pressed against the door, my heart sank. Everyone was pushing to get on, and I found myself next to a man with terrible body odour. He was holding onto a rail with his arm up in the air, and the smell was just terrible. Has this man never heard of a shower? Then things got even worse. The train broke down in a tunnel, and I was stuck there for an hour. When I got off the train, I took some huge, deep breaths. I've never enjoyed the polluted air of the city so much. Posted by Chris T., 8th of the 3rd, 1921.
Five B. Culture shock. Exercise 1A, page 82. One.
Struggle to get used to the weather.
2.
Have difficulty understanding social etiquette.
3.
Find it hard to make friends.
4.
Try to get used to the food.
5.
Struggle with the language.
Exercise 2A, page 82.
Students abroad. Case studies. Stephen Marshall. Name. Stephen Marshall. School. Concordia University, Oregon, USA. Studying in Puebla, Mexico. So, Stephen, why did you decide to spend a year studying abroad?
Well, generally, I thought it would be an adventure and a great learning opportunity to live in a totally different culture. I chose Mexico because I have been learning Spanish now for 3 years and I wanted to improve my language skills.
What have been the best parts of your experience so far?
It's very difficult to choose just a few, but one of the best things has definitely been the experience of living with a host family. Mexicans are very warm, outgoing people, and my hosts have been treating me like part of their family. During my first week, they invited their whole family for dinner to meet me, and it was fun, but quite overwhelming trying to answer all their questions in Spanish. I've also been learning to slow down and relax and take an afternoon siesta after a big lunch, like the rest of the family. It's been fantastic living in one of Mexico's oldest cities too, with its beautiful 16th century architecture. It's a great feeling when you start to feel like you belong in a foreign place. Little things like knowing the answer when strangers ask you for directions, or getting around without getting lost are so rewarding.
And what about the challenging parts?
Well, I've been struggling a bit to get used to the hot weather, but now I wear a hat. It was also difficult to get used to the spicy food, but now I'm really enjoying it. I still have difficulty understanding social etiquette. Last week, for example, a new Mexican friend invited me for dinner, and I turned up exactly on time. My host seemed a bit surprised. I found out later that Mexicans usually turn up for an appointment at least half an hour late.
What would you say to other young people considering studying abroad?
Go for it, without a doubt. This has been the best experience of my life so far. I've become more self-confident, patient, and outgoing, and my Spanish has improved even more than I expected.
Five C. Culture Corner. Exercise 1, page 84.
Social etiquette in the UK. Are you planning to visit the UK in the near future? Since every country has its own set of do's and don'ts, it's worthwhile to find out just what it means to be polite before getting on that plane. Here are a few of the most important rules of behavior. If you are meeting someone for the first time, extend a hand to say hello. Britons greet each other with firm handshakes. Hugs are rare, but kissing on the cheek is not unusual between friends or relatives. Also, it is important to make eye contact while speaking with someone. Otherwise, you will seem rude or insincere. Use titles, such as Dr. Smith or Mr. Norris, to show respect, unless someone invites you to use their first name. Address a woman as Ms., as in Ms. Banks, if you aren't sure if she is married or not. When Brits ask how you are, they don't expect a long reply about your recent headaches or your sore throat. How are you is a typical greeting that asks for a simple answer such as, I'm fine. You may compliment a person on their new haircut or shirt, but never tell someone that they look tired or unwell, unless you are really afraid that they may be ill. Don't ask someone how much money they make or how much money they've spent on something. Also, never talk loudly on a mobile phone in public, and be aware that taking a phone call during mealtimes is considered to be extremely rude. Also, you should say please and thank you in all situations. Giving a thumbs up or OK sign are all positive gestures. Using your index finger to point at someone is impolite. Instead, extend your entire hand, palm facing up. In the UK, a smile is a sign of friendliness and even politeness. So if someone smiles at you, return the gesture. However friendly Brits may seem, though, they still prefer that you don't get too close to them. Keep a distance of about half a meter from people, unless you are in a crowded place. Sharing a meal with Brits shouldn't be a stressful event. Nevertheless, there are a few things to remember when you find yourself at a dinner table. If someone invites you over for a meal, bringing a small gift like flowers is a nice token of thanks. Make sure to arrive on time, and if you must be late, call your host to apologize. Always wait until everyone has food in front of them before you start eating, and remember to keep your elbows off the table. Also, it is very important to keep your mouth closed while chewing. Brits think talking with a mouthful of food is rude and disgusting. If you eat in a restaurant, expect to pay your waiter a tip that is 10% of the bill. but not if the service is second-rate.
(5D) Everyday English. Exercise 1, page 85. One,
Leave rubbish outside their house.
2,
Children make a lot of noise. Children damage property.
3,
Play loud music.
4,
Throw litter onto your property.
5,
Let their dog bark all day and night.
6,
Park in front of your driveway.
Exercise 2A, page 85.
Could I talk to you for a minute? What can I do for you? I'm afraid I have a complaint. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Thanks, I'd really appreciate that.
Exercise 2B, page 85.
Excuse me, I don't think we've met yet. I'm Alan Jones. I've just moved in next door.
Pleased to meet you, Alan. I'm Ray Newton.
Pleased to meet you, Ray. Could I talk to you for a minute?
Sure, what can I do for you?
Well, I'm afraid I have a complaint. It's just that you've been playing your music really loud. My roommate and I are students, and we just can't study with so much noise.
Oh, I'm really sorry about that. I didn't realise it was bothering anyone.
That's okay. It's just that we have exams in a few weeks.
I understand. Don't worry, I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Thanks. I'd really appreciate that.
You're welcome, and sorry again.
Don't worry about it. Have a nice day.
Exercise 4, page 85. One,
Not at all.
2,
What can I do for you?
3,
Sam is always playing loud music.
4,
I've just moved in.
5E. Be the change. Exercise 1A, page 86.
Win a scholarship to a top university. Move into a caravan in the countryside. Adopt a child from abroad. Start your own business. Set up a charity. Grow your own food. Have cosmetic surgery.
Exercise 2, page 86.
A change for the better. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." This is exactly what these three people have done. The changes they made took their lives in completely different directions and helped them to make the world a much better place. A. Liz Murray. Liz has shared the stage with world leaders like Mikhail Gorbachev and the Dalai Lama as an international speaker. It's hard to believe that at the age of 16 she was homeless and sleeping on park benches and underground trains. Liz's parents were drug addicts and couldn't look after her and her sister. She says,
We ate ice cubes because it felt like eating. We split a tube of toothpaste between us for dinner.
when their mother died, their father moved to a homeless shelter, and Liz and her sister were out on the streets of New York. At this point, Liz decided to try to turn her life around. She went back to school, and through dedication and determination, she eventually won a scholarship to a top university. Since Liz graduated from Harvard in 2009, she has been speaking at events to teenagers about staying away from drugs and gangs. She wants them to understand that they can reach their goals, whatever they have had to face in their lives. B. Mark Boyle. A few years ago, economics graduate Mark was the manager of an organic food company. He has always been passionate about the environment and social issues, but he felt that he wanted to do even more. He argued that if we grew our own food instead of buying it, we wouldn't throw a third of it away while millions around the world go hungry. So Mark gave up his job and decided to prove that we don't need money to survive by living without it for a year. He moved into an old caravan in the countryside, put in solar panels for power, and started growing his own food and washing in a river. When he didn't have enough homegrown food, he went into the forest to pick wild food like berries. Mark enjoyed the year so much that he has been living without money since then. Recently, he's written a book, The Moneyless Man, A Year of Freakonomic Living, and hopes to use the profits to create a whole community that lives without money.
C. Narayanan Krishnan.
Narayanan Krishnan was an award-winning chef who was about to take up a top job in Switzerland. Then, while visiting his parents at home in India, he saw an old man starving under a bridge. He says,
I fed that man and decided that this is what I should do for the rest of my life.
He gave up his job and set up a charity called the Akshaya Trust. Every day, Narayanan now personally prepares and hands out 400 simple, tasty hot meals to the homeless. He also carries a comb, scissors and a razor so that he can give haircuts and shaves. Narayanan sleeps in Akshaya's kitchen. But he says he's enjoying his life. He has shown what one person can achieve when they set out to change the world.
Five F. Changes in life. Exercise 1, page 88.
Infant, 1 to 12 months. Toddler, 1 to 2 years. Child, 2 to 12 years. Teenager, 13 to 19 years. Adult, 20 plus. Middle-aged, 40 plus. Elderly, 60 plus.
Exercise 3, page 88.
Rite of passage. When my best friend Alicia first invited me to go with her to her cousin's wedding in India, I leapt at the chance. A wedding is very important to Hindus because it signifies the marriage of two families, not just a couple. It sounded so exotic, and I wanted to see it for myself. When we walked out of the airport into the steaming hot day, a large group of Alicia's relatives were waiting excitedly to greet us. After having greeted grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins, from the oldest to the youngest, according to tradition, we caught a taxi and I got my first taste of the hustle and bustle of Jaipur. Bicycle rickshaws bumped along beside us as I admired the architecture of the Pink City, Jaipur's nickname from the colour of its buildings. That night was the Sangeet, the first night of the wedding celebrations. The garden at the bride's house was full of brightly coloured decorations and women wearing beautiful multi-coloured saris. One of Alicia's aunts soon pulled me up to dance. Everyone seemed to know the steps, apart from me, that is. I really enjoyed watching the modern Bollywood dances. My favourite of all was the dandidas, a traditional dance using sticks. In the past, this party used to last for about 10 days. The following afternoon it was the Mendi party. Mendi is the decoration of the hands and feet with a dye called henna. All of the women sat under a big tent, and some artists drew amazing designs on our hands. The designs last for weeks and are a symbol of future prosperity and happiness. Later, Alicia and her relatives taught me some dance steps for the wedding ceremony the following day. On the morning of the wedding, Alicia surprised me with a gift, a green and gold silk sari, and helped me to put it on. At first I felt a bit awkward, but soon I realised it was very comfortable to wear. The groom arrived wearing white and riding a white horse with a marching band closely following him. It was a spectacular entrance, but it was nothing compared to the bride. She was wearing a magnificent sari of red and gold velvet with stunning gold jewellery. Then, the bride and groom sat under a mandap, a decorated tent with a small fire in the middle. During the ceremony, they seemed to be doing lots of different symbolic things, like walking around the fire or exchanging flower garlands. After the ceremony, we ate lots of traditional Indian dishes. The ones inside banana leaves were my favourite. Then, it was time for more dancing. Thankfully, this time I didn't seem to embarrass myself so much. I feel lucky to have met such warm people and have experienced a traditional Indian wedding. It was like being at the fairy tale wedding of an Indian prince and princess.
(5G) Skills. Exercise 1A, page 90.
Special features: tattoo, wrinkles, moustache, freckles, beard, dark skin, pale skin, pierced ears, glasses, bald, face, long, round, small, oval, age, middle-aged, old, in her early 20s, young, in her early 40s, in his mid-30s, in her late teens. Hair: curly, long, wavy, straight, blonde, dark. Build: fat, well-built, skinny, overweight, thin, plump. Height: short, of medium height, small, tall.
Exercise 4, page 90.
Hello, Leslie, and welcome to the show. Can you tell our listeners what you do exactly?
Yes, of course, Mike. I'm a youth worker, and I visit schools to talk to groups of students about improving their body image. You see, as teenagers' bodies change, so can the way they see themselves. Because of this, many teens believe that they would be happier if they were thinner, taller, or shorter, or if they had curly hair, a smaller nose, longer legs. The list goes on.
And it's really important to have a good body image, isn't it?
Yes, it really is, because feeling good about yourself often affects the way you act. A person with a good self-image makes friends more easily, recognizes their mistakes and learns from them, and generally enjoys their life more.
Of course. Young people often compare themselves to others, don't they? Like to their friends, and even to celebrities on TV.
Yes, that's right. One of the first things I say to the teens I speak to is that they mustn't do this, because everyone is different. Instead, I tell them to think about what they can change about themselves and what they can't. You can't change your height or your shoe size, for example, so there's no point worrying about things like that. Then if there are things you want to change about yourself, like wanting to lose some weight or become healthier, you should take small steps every day to reach your goals.
Thanks, Leslie. Do you have any other advice to give before you go?
Yes. Most people wish they could change something about themselves, but sometimes poor body image can become a very big problem, and a teenager can become very depressed. If this happens, you must talk to a parent, a teacher, or an adult you trust, or even call a teen helpline. Remember that adults were all teens once, and they probably know exactly how you feel.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, Leslie.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure to be here.
5H. Writing. Exercise 4A, page 91.
Is it a good idea to go on an extreme diet? These days, more and more people are trying extreme diets to lose weight quickly. Some people think these diets are great, but others think they are not good for you. Without a doubt, there are some advantages to these diets. Firstly, you can see results really quickly, and this can keep you motivated to lose more weight. Secondly, they encourage self-control, because you have to stay focused for the diet to work. On the other hand, there are some disadvantages to these diets. To begin with, they can be difficult to follow, so you may give up easily and put weight back on quickly. Also, there are many restrictions. This means you may not get enough nutrients to stay healthy. All in all, there are both advantages and disadvantages to extreme diets. In my opinion, anyone who wants to lose weight should think about it very carefully and make sure they see a doctor before starting a diet.
5I. Curricula. Science. Exercise 1, page 92.
Body talk. We can't help it, but we all sneeze, yawn, blush, hiccup, cough, or even snore from time to time. But what exactly is going on in our bodies when we do all these things? Yawn. No one knows for sure why we yawn, but one theory is that when you're tired or bored, you don't breathe as deeply as usual, so yawning helps you to take more oxygen into the blood. Other scientists say that yawning stretches the muscles and lungs and increases the heart rate, helping us to stay more alert. Most people seem to agree about one thing, though. Yawning is contagious. Even animals and unborn babies yawn. Cough. A cough is an important way of clearing your airways, throat, and lungs of irritations. When you cough, you breathe in and close your vocal cords. As you release the air, you make a barking noise, a cough. Blush. It's no secret that we blush when we're embarrassed. But why? Well, when you feel self-conscious, your body releases adrenaline, which increases the blood flow to your face. Babies don't blush. You only blush when you become aware of other people's thoughts and feelings. hiccup. We get hiccups when something irritates the diaphragm muscle below the lungs that helps pull air into them. When we eat or drink too much, or when we feel nervous or excited, the diaphragm pulls down air in a jerky way. When this air meets your voice box, you make a hiccup sound. Sneeze. When something such as dust, pollen, or a virus irritates the inside of our nose, a message goes to the brain. The brain then tells 6 different muscles, including your eyelids, to push air out through your nose at up to 160 kilometers per hour. Snore. When you are asleep and air can't move freely through your mouth or nose, parts of your mouth and throat vibrate and cause snoring. Reasons why the air can't get through might include an allergy, a cold, or being overweight. Studies say that about 45% of men and 30% of women snore regularly.
Skills 5. Exercise 2, page 95.
Some people are just meant to be together. From the very first moment, there is a connection and a bond that no one else can equal or understand. A computer link finally brought 2 love-lost people together. Let's listen to Meredith's story.
I was born in Yangmen, China. My birth mother was unable to take care of me and gave me up for adoption. I was adopted by a loving, childless family from America. I was taken to my new home in Chicago, Illinois, before I was a year old. I grew up among people who loved me. I had everything a child could dream of, but there was something I really longed for: a sister. I remember I often told my parents that all I wanted was a sister.
Here comes the best part of the story. This might sound unbelievable, but it is true. 6 years ago, Meredith's father, Jim Rittenhouse, was reading an online post in a Yahoo group from a family that had adopted a daughter around the same time that he and his wife had adopted their daughter, called Meredith. Jim was really surprised because they called their daughter Meredith also. Along with the post, there was a picture of young Meredith. When Mr. Rittenhouse looked at the picture, he knew instantly he was looking at his own daughter's twin sister.
After a short amount of time and a very simple blood test, the 2 families learned that their daughters, Meredith and me, were in fact twins. The orphanage in China had not known we were twins because the babies had been brought to them on 2 separate occasions. But none of that matters now. It is really great that I have a sister, a twin sister actually, who lives next door. And our parents are great people. I guess we are an unusual family, but I feel lucky to have them as parents.
Life can hold surprises for everyone. As for the 2 sisters, the girls, like 2 peas in a pod, are together again, this time forever.
Exercise 4, page 95.
What do you think about studying abroad, Jane? I know it's expensive, but my parents have asked me to think about it and let them know.
Well, these days, many people choose to study abroad. One good thing about it is that living in a foreign country means you will get to know a different culture. This will broaden your worldview and make you more tolerant and understanding of other cultures.
I suppose you're right. It will definitely improve my language skills. That's a good skill and may help me get a good job when I graduate.
Yes, but don't forget that you'll be far away from home. You may get really homesick and your studies may suffer.
That's a good point. Also, adjusting to a foreign culture may be much more difficult than I expect, and I might not be able to concentrate on my studies.
Yep. I think it's a difficult decision that you need to think carefully about before you decide to do it. Only you know how well you will adjust to living in another country.
You're right. Thanks. You've been very helpful.
No problem. Good luck with whatever you decide.
Exercise 1, page 96.
Ivan Kupala Day. The sun is wonderful. It's the giver of life, and all living things on earth depend on the energy that comes from it. It isn't surprising then that people have always celebrated the sun. In Russia, people honor the sun on Midsummer Day, or Ivan Kupala Day, one of the most exciting celebrations of the year. Ivan Kupala Day is an ancient holiday still celebrated in a lot of countries, including Russia. It is a huge celebration of the sun and takes place every year around the summer solstice, the day the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. It is a popular and fun holiday, filled with a variety of rites and ceremonies connected with water, fire and plants. On the evening before Ivan Kupala Day, people look through their gardens or wander around forested areas looking for fern flowers. People believe that these flowers only bloom for a few moments on the eve of the summer solstice. Legend also has it that when the fern flower blossoms, you can see all the treasures of the earth. Finding a fern flower is thought to bring prosperity to the lucky finder. On Ivan Kupala Day, the fun begins with children playing tricks and having water fights. Swimming on Ivan Kupala Day is also a popular custom. In the evening, people light huge bonfires as part of the celebrations. They dance around them and jump over them. The person who jumps the highest is believed to be the happiest. In the past, many people thought that on this night, the shortest one of the year, evil spirits came out, and so they would stay up all night performing different rites to keep the evil spirits away.